Hello. Today we're going to talk to you a little bit about traits, virtues, deeds, and books. All of these are pretty critical aspects of the gameplay. Makes you a more well-rounded playing toon, in my opinion. Let's see, what should you do first? Let's do traits first. Now, traits, if you look down here on the bar where my mouse pointer is, now if my screen does not look exactly like your screen, don't panic. I use different skins on my toons, so it may not look exactly like yours, but you will have the same traits and virtues and all of that. Right down here I've got a little icon, looks like a little Gandalf kind of wizard guy. If you click on him, this brings up your trait window. The trait window can be dragged into a location that's very comfortable for you to look at. Virtue traits, it's broken into virtue traits, race traits, class traits, and legendary traits. And all of these traits are earned as you play the game, as your character grows, as you complete certain deeds, certain quests. We're going to work with this window from top to bottom. Across here you have your tabs, you have your equipped traits, which indicates that these are the traits that are currently governing your toon now that your toon is getting credit for. You have your virtues tab. This tab here, this wheel, is all of the possible virtues that you could have on your that are available to you. You can only slot so many of these virtues, but these are all of the possible virtues that you could earn. You'll notice that some have a little check mark and an outline on the box. That indicates that that virtue is indeed traded already. You already have that traded. You will see that some of them have little rings on their heads, and what that indicates is that those you actually have deeds that are currently underway working on those traits. So if you have a little ring on there, that means that you actually have a deed that you're working on. The deed may not be visible, the deed may not be on your quest tracker, but it is indeed in action. You're working on it. And then you see that some just don't have anything. The number is how high you have that particular virtue leveled up. At this point, the 16 is the highest trait. 16 is the highest trait. When I started the game, it went from 10 to 12 and now to 16. So 10 was the highest, then they went to 12, and now they went to 16. What virtues are good for you? Well, that is an excellent question. That is $1 million question. It depends on what class of character you're playing and how you play that character. I will tell you this. Not everybody does it the same way, and that is okay. I wish I had a dime for everybody that would come up and go, boy, I wouldn't trait my character like that. Now, of course, there are rules of thumb. If you have a character that needs vitality and needs fate, well then of course you may want to trait in that area, towards that goal. But you don't have to. If you have a particular playing style that you want to trait in a different way, it's really up to you. Look at your toon, look at what is best for your toon, and then weigh that with your playing style, and that's how you're going to end up trading your character. Always listen, be nice, and listen to people's suggestions, but know in the back of your mind, look, I'm traded this way because, or hey, that was a good point, maybe I should change this trait. The virtues that you have slotted are not engraved in stone. You can change them at any time, and we'll be covering that in just a moment. If you want to see what a virtue is, you simply rest your mouse pointer on it, and a little tooltip window will pop up, and it tells you how it benefits a toon, period. Now notice how this one, it has plus 864 physical mitigation, 1379 resistance rating, and 216 tactical mitigation. Now, notice I have this one traded, and I can tell that because it has the check mark and the border around the box. I'm using this because This particular character is a lore master, and he tends to be a little squishy if things get up on top of him. So I want to be able to handle the blows as best I can, so I'm going to go with some physical mitigation in order to help me to dodge the blows or withstand the blows. Susceptible to poisons and diseases I am, so I want a little bit of resistance rating. All of the different traits benefit you in different ways. Some of them, the way the trading is, just will not benefit you at all. You just have to look at them all, take some time, and read what they do, and then trait yourself accordingly. The next tab over is your race. These are your race traits. Every race has a different set of traits. Humans have theirs, elves have theirs, hobbits have theirs, so on and so forth. Again, you can tell which traits I have currently slotted because they have the check mark in the box around them. Notice that these traits here do not have a check mark or a box around them, but they are in full color. That means that I have indeed earned those traits. I'm just not slotting them. And then you'll notice that this trait down here is what we call grayed out. That means I have not earned that trait yet. And obviously I'm not in too big a hurry to do so. See, this is a level 85 character. If you want to know what these do, again, you have your tooltips. You just rest your mouse pointer on them and the tooltip will come out. Next tab is your class tab. I hate to say, oh wow, these are the most important traits, but they really are very, very important. Virtues are important, race traits are important, they're all important, but your class is probably more important of all these groups I'm going to show you, because the class traits, and each class of character has their own set of traits. The class traits really, really help you control how your character is going to perform in the game. If you look down at the bottom here, you will see we have 3 tabs. We have the Keeper of the Animals, Master of Nature's Fury, and the Ancient Master. Now, each class has 3 separate tabs at the bottom, but all of them, for all classes, are in the colors of blue, red, and yellow. Color coordinated. Though they are called different things and they have different traits within them, each of the classes have the 3 tabs that are blue, red, and yellow. The reason that they have those tabs color segregated is because each of those color groups perform and help your toon perform in a different manner. Red is usually a DPS, damage per second. You're going to be able to hit harder, usually. Blue, depending on your class, now this is a lore master, so blue is usually for crowd control and power sharing and health regaining. Yellow is also for crowd control. But each of these colors can be mixed and matched. Right now I'm looking at my yellow tab, which is the Ancient Master. That is for lore masters. Your class may be named different, but it is yellow. And each of your class traits will be different as well. As before, you can tell which class traits are traded because they have a check mark in the box and a border. As before, you can tell which traits are earned and ready to be slotted if their icons are full color, and if, as before, you can tell if a trait is not earned yet because that will be grayed out. Now, I don't have, on this particular character, I have no grayed out traits or class traits. No, I have no grayed out or unavailable class traits on this character. The way I play, I am really big at earning all of my class traits. Whether I think I'm going to use them or not, I want them available just in case. Just in case I'm running with a group and the run leader in that group wants me to trade a particular way, I want to have all of my options available to me. And I never underestimate the development team changing things around. They've done that in the past, so I just want everything available to me. So I try and earn each class trait for my characters, whether I'm going to use them or not. That same statement is not the same for virtues. You'll notice that I'm lagging way behind on virtues if the total is 16. When it comes to virtues, I only go after the virtues that I know I'm going to be trading on my character. Now, there have been developmental changes, and the traits that I had, the virtues that I had at one time, now are no longer doing the same thing that they used to do, and so I will change them out. Then I'll go back and I'll rebuild that virtue trait all the way to its highest level. At this point, it's 16. In my opinion, it is definitely worth your interest to build your virtue traits as high as they can go if they are virtues that you are trading. If they are not virtues you are trading, don't even worry about it. That's the virtues. However, as I stated, when we go to class and the 3 separate tabs, the red, the yellow, and the blue, I do make it a point on each of my tunes to earn each of my class traits, whether I will use them or not. If you look at this class trait box over here to the right where it says trait set bonus, if you trait 2 of these if you trait 2 traits of the yellow category, you will receive this bonus. If you trait 3, you will receive this bonus, and 4, this bonus. But then you get the big 5 right down here, what a lot of people call the end cap. When someone says, hey, you got your end cap slotted for the yellow, they're talking about the benefits you get by having all 5, or at least a count of 5, yellow traded, class traits traded. A lot of these are legendary traits, and we'll talk about that in just a second, but you can't use them unless you have at least 5 of that particular color traded. Each of the different colors has their own end cap that does different things. Looking at it here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blues traded, so I bet you I have my end cap traded. So the last time I ran this character in a raid, it was for crowd control, and I wanted to use my Bog Lurker. That's what that tells me at a glance. Each of the colors has their own end cap. And again, the end caps are usually legendary traits, which brings us to the legendary tab. The legendary tab shows you the icons of the legendary traits that you can earn for this particular character. As before, you can tell which ones are traded by the check mark. As before, you can tell which ones are available to you. You've earned them because they are full color. And as before, you could tell which ones were not available, for they were not earned because they were grayed out. The end cap traits that I was referring to just a few moments ago, they're all being pulled from the legendary trait area. Back over to our equipped traits tab. Your trait set bonuses are listed here. Over to the right-hand side. Virtue traits we've talked about. The virtue traits are the traits on your virtue tab. Each of mine are up to 16. Again, I like to get them as high as possible. This is my lore master, so I I can tell you that my virtue trading for my lore master is going to help boost my tactical abilities, boost my mitigation abilities. Mitigations are the ability to withstand a blow or dodge a blow, parry a blow. Mitigations are also for fighting off diseases and fighting off wounds and fighting off poisons. But you're going to play your character your way. This is just how I have mine traded. Coming down here are the race traits. We've talked about those. They're on the race trait tab. Down a little further are those most important class traits, in my opinion. They're on the class traits tab. And then your legendary traits right down here, which are on the legendary tab. All right. So the next logical question is, well, how do I get a trait slotted? How do I change traits if I need to? Well, that's a good question. I am going to close this trait window. In order for me to adjust my traits, to slot traits, to change traits, I need to find this guy right here. He's a bard. You can tell you're bards because they have the little icon of, I like to call it the ukulele. Some people call it a mandolin or a little guitar. Just remember the word bard, and you found the guy who's going to help you to change your traits. He is an NPC, a computer player, and they're located all throughout Middle-earth. You find your bard, you right-click on him. You get a couple of choices here. You get Browse the Shop, which is a typical window here, which allows you to buy musical items. Great, if you want one. But what I do is I manage my traits. So if you right-click on them again, you'll notice that Manage Your Traits is an option. You left-click on that, and this brings up the Trait Trainer window. It is the Trait Trainer window from the Bard that is going to allow you to adjust your traits, your virtues, your race, your class, and your legendary. As you're playing the game and you're going into different groups, run leaders will ask you to trade a different way. You need to find you a Bard and get to this Trait Trading window. Once you get to the Trait Trading window, it's a simple matter of clicking and dragging whatever trait you want into the appropriate box. If you just want to remove something, you can click and drag it down and release, and it will vanish from whatever virtue trait area you have. Notice that underneath equipped traits, if you go to the right, you have your virtues tab, your race tab, your class tab, and your legendary tab. The very same tabs that were brought up by your trait window that we were talking about a moment ago. Only this window here, when you go to a particular tab, you can click and drag whatever trait you want into the equipped area. So let's do this. I'm going to go to, this is virtues, and let's just say that I am going to abandon this virtue. I'm being told to, or I've decided that fidelity is just not for me anymore. I'm going to click and drag it out of the box, and I'm going to release. Now it's gone, and I don't have a virtue traded there. In my opinion, you should never leave the box, any of the boxes, virtue, race, class, or legendary, open. Throw something in there. It's a benefit, so don't leave blank spaces. Let's just say I don't want fidelity anymore. I've decided idealism. And I want you just rest your mouse pointer on idealism. The little tooltip will come out, and it tells you exactly what it's going to do. 48 fate plus 1379 resistance plus 12 will. Well, I want that, so I'm going to click and drag that into the appropriate box. You get the idea here. You're going to go to each of these tabs, and you're going to click and drag the items that you want into the trait area accordingly. Class is going to go into class, legendary is going to go into legendary, and you're just going to fill up all those traits the way you want them. Once you're done, you'll click the confirm button. Don't forget to click the confirm button or the traits will not change. So you always want to click confirm at the end. Now I'm going to cancel that because I want to keep the way I am traded. There you go. Alright, so that is trading. Something I'd like to point out at this time to help you get an idea of what is important for your particular class or particular toon. I'm going to close the trainer window and I'm going to go down and I'm going to open my character journal down here. This character journal is everything about your toon. This particular window here, and I've covered this in another a video, by the way, if you're interested in how to work with the character journals. This area here shows everything that is currently equipped on this character. But look over here to the right-hand side. You'll see you have your morale count, your power count, and your armor count. And then you have all of the other aspects. You have your might, you have your agility, you have your vitality. You have an offensive category that shows you your critical rating, so on and so forth. And you have a scroll bar that'll scroll you all the way down, so don't be sure not to omit that. The reason I'm showing you this is to find out what aspects benefit your toon. I'm going to take my mouse pointer and I'm going to rest it on the word might. As I rest it on the word might, a tooltip will come up and tell me exactly what this is going to do for me. I go down to agility. I rest my mouse pointer and I wait for the tooltip. You're getting the idea. But watch this. I go to vitality. I wait for my tooltip, and in this tooltip, they make a point of telling me, as a lore master, vitality is very important for you. Two traits inside of here, two aspects. In this group here, the basic stats, two of these aspects are going to be very important to you. Vitality is one for this character. I'm going to go down to will, rest my mouse pointer, wait for the tooltip, and will is very important. So I'm keeping this in mind. As I am trading my character, I know that vitality and I know that will is going to benefit this character, so I may choose to trait towards that line. But as you're trading, keep in mind, you never want to stack one aspect over the other. You don't want to pile so much of one on there that you've neglected the others. As one person told me, it doesn't matter how much morale you have. If the enemy can wipe it out in 2 hits, what was the point? Their point to me was, have a balanced toon. Make sure that you're guarding the morale that you do have as best you can with mitigations. Be able to take the hit. Be able to dodge. Be able to parry. Be able to withstand the disease, the poisons. You get the point? All right. Okay, so that is trading in a nutshell. Let's see. Let's talk about deeds. All right, we're going to go on to deeds now. Deeds are things that you can do within the game, that some things that are being asked of you, some things that you need to do in order to advance the game, in order to advance your character, in order to advance your class. You level up, you get stronger. You get more traits, you get stronger. You get better virtues, you get stronger. Watch my mouse pointer down here on this box here. This is your deed icon, your deed journal. Oops, wrong one. This one here. Okay, this is your deed log. I left click on the deed log and up comes the deed log window. Again, this window can be clicked and dragged into a more comfortable place. I like everything in the center unless I've got them side by side so I can do bird's eye views to even things out or take a look and see what's better for me. Let's work with this deed log book. Let's work with it from top to bottom. You have a series of tabs across the top. Skirmishes, instances, hobbies, class Race Epic, Eriador, Rohavanyan. For each tab that you click on the top, there are sub-tabs down here at the bottom. Let's go back up to Skirmishes, the Skirmish tab. You notice that you select the Skirmish tab. Everything to the left are skirmishes that could be accomplished. When you left-click on the left-hand column, that which is within it is displayed to the right-hand column. That is to say, if I click on the Assault on Thee, and if it's cut off on you, you can just rest your mouse pointer there, and it comes out. The Assault on the Ringwraith's Lair. Everything that has to be accomplished to complete that skirmish deed is listed over to the right. Never forget you have your scroll bars. As I look at the right-hand side and I look at all the different aspects that must be completed before I can complete Assault on the Ringwraith's Lair, that's tough to say, notice that some of these icons are gray and some of these icons are red. They look like little wax stamps to me. If the item is stamped red, you have completed that aspect. You have satisfied that. You have done that. If it is gray, you have not. So in this area here, or in this skirmish of Assault on the Ringwraiths, it looks like I've got 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to scroll down. I need to do 3 more things in order to complete that skirmish deed. At the very bottom of the right-hand page on all of them is your winnings. So if I complete this, I am going to win a title. That's fantastic. We can go into titles a little later on in another video. But just for real quick, they're just something that you can choose to put up over your head, so when you select a name, you are, like this guy would be Kuuipo, and then whatever his title is. Titles are fun. Going back over to the left-hand side, here's Attack at Dawn, 2 of 6. I select over to the left, and what I need to accomplish in order to satisfy that becomes available over to the right. Looks like I have been neglecting this one. I've got 2 accomplished, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 unaccomplished. Underneath the skirmish area, you have a little filter. Right now it's filtered by all. Doesn't look like it gives us much of a filter choice, but there is a drop down. Might change if we change to a different tab. We'll check that. But over here are 2 important check boxes: completed and set rewards. If I put a check mark in completed, this shows me what skirmishes have been completed by this character. Only the skirmishes that have been completed are now visible, and that's all of 2 of them. Fantastic. So if I click on this, it shows me what I've done and what I've earned. Here I got 15 marks for doing that, so that's good. If I remove completed, now everything that is still available for me to do once again becomes visible. If I click the set rewards check mark, that shows me over on the left-hand side what I am going to win. I'm going to show you, I use that set rewards a lot, and I'll show you in what aspect in just a moment. Right? And then of course you have another tab down here. I call these the sub-tabs. We're on the main skirmish tab, and then you have your sub-tabs down here. Notice how this text up here changes. On this far left tab, it's skirmish instances. Then if I click the next sub in, it's skirmish lieutenants. So don't forget, once you select your main tab on top of the deed log, you have sub-tabs at the bottom. Let's go over to instances. Now, what's the difference between a skirmish and an instance is a very, very good question. Skirmishes can be built from instances or other quests. And it's something that the designers have come up with. And there's something that you can join solo or in smaller, large groups. And yeah, you can earn your marks and your medallions and get some pretty nice prizes out of those skirmishes. But the difference between a skirmish and an instance is an instance is it's a main aspect of the game. It's a quest or a deed that you're going to do that one time, and you may be able to redo them if they are repeatable. Where skirmishes are not. You could never do a skirmish in the whole game and not get hurt. However, instances are different because instances are actually part of the overall gameplay. Books and other deeds and other instances that are used to earn more your deeds and traits. So let me show you here. If I go to instances, and again down the left hand side, all the different instances, I'm going to click this one up to the top here. When I select it to the top, everything that needs to be done is shown over to the right hand side. It looks like I am just one click away, or one aspect away, from completing Enemies of the Stronghold. And that is find this guy's domain. Okay? Well, take a look down at the bottom for my winnings. I would win 5 turboing points, which are always good, but my tolerance trait, my tolerance virtue, would go up to number 7. If I rest my mouse pointer on that right now and I wait for my tooltip, it will show me that tolerance is currently at level 6, and I am earning it. So it's not traded, but I am earning it. So that would be one of the ones when we went back over to that long clock-looking thing of the virtues that had the rings in it, on it. I wasn't traded, but I'm earning it. It's obviously nothing I'm really paying attention to, but if you needed to boost it up, this is an excellent way of showing you what you need to do in order to get those traits or those virtues boosted up. This is an excellent time to show you the set rewards. If I click set rewards, notice that the actual reward item is shown to the left hand side. Now, there's nothing wrong with going down and clicking on the left and then scrolling down to the right to see what the reward is going to be. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But if you want to see it at a bird's eye view by clicking set rewards, well, there you go. You can still click over here, it still shows you what you need to do, but at a bird's eye view, you can see what you will win and if it's worth your time to go in there and accomplish that. Again, you have the completed. That shows you everything you've already done. I've been there, I've done that. So as you use these tabs in your deed log, if you're chasing after something, if you're chasing after a virtue, use your set rewards so that you can see everything at a bird's eye view so you know if it's worth going to do that. Never forget about your sub-tabs down at the bottom. They're very important. You don't want to miss anything. And that's how the deed log works. The deed log is also very handy in finding out where you were in order to pick up, let's just say, a book quest or an instance chain, where you were and where you need to go to start it again. Let me give you a scenario that happened to me. I was working on a book quest, a book chain, and I went away for a little while. Well, when I came back, I kind of just put my feet back in the game and was just walking around killing things, getting into groups, and just, you know, going about my life. And then I noticed that one of my virtues was not high. Well, then I remembered that I was working on that virtue through the book quests way back before I left the game. So I used my deed log and I came back in and I used both the completed aspect, it showed me what has already been done, and I followed it right to the end, and then I remove the completed, and that showed me where I needed to pick up the next book in that chain. So the deed log not only showing you what's available to you and what you're working on and what you can earn, can also help you to get back on track should you happen to fall off track. All right, that's the deed log. Okay, the last thing I want to talk to you about now is books. Book quests, book lines. Books can be confusing. I know they confused me when I first started playing. I'm going to open up my quest log, which is the ring down here. Here's my quest log. Down the left shows the quests that are currently underway. If you see a little plus symbol, you can click on it and it will display any quests that are currently available to you in that area that you have underway. These are rings that you've come upon and you've clicked on. As you'll see here, if I select this one, I have Book 9, Chapter 1, Occart Unhidden. What used to confuse me about books when I first started playing is I would ask and people would say stuff like, you need to be on Book 265. Okay, now that made no sense to me whatsoever. I'm on Book 1. I'm on Book 9. I'm on Book who knows. I didn't understand what they meant when they said you need to be on 269. So here is the explanation. Volume, book, chapter. 2 is the volume, 269. 2 would be the volume, 6 would be the book, 9 would be the chapter. Look right down here. See how it says Epic Volume 1, Book 9. Okay? This is Book 1. Imagine you're walking up to a library and you have one big fat volume of books. One shelf full of books, and they're all Volume 1. A volume can be made up of many books, and a book can be made up of many chapters. So, if you look at this here, it says Book 9, Chapter 1. I'm on Book 9 of the first chapter, and then I go down here, and it's Volume 1. So that would be 191. Volume 1, Book 9, Chapter 1. And for the longest time, that just threw me. But that's the explanation of books in a nutshell. So when they start throwing numbers out at you, that's what they mean. The first number is the volume, the second number is the book, and the third number is the chapter. Some books can be split up, and what I mean by that is you don't have to finish a book all the way. You can leave, like Book 2 is infamous. Look at this. Oh, I've already completed one. Book 2 is infamous. You can stop doing book 2 at a particular book and chapter, and then pick it up again 2 books and a couple of chapters later, and the game allows you to do that. So you literally don't, you could finish the first part of Book 2, leaving the second part of Book 2 open, or vice versa. You could leave the first part of Book 2 open and finish the second half of Book 2. So Book 2 is kind of funky that way. But as long as you understand what the difference between the volume, the book, and the chapter, you're going to be fine. While I'm in the quest log window, I just want to show you this one thing here. You have all these different icons across the top that can really confuse you. They change the views. The one that I use the most is Show Completed Quests. If you put a check mark in Show Completed Quests, I want you to go make a sandwich because it takes a while. Because what's going to happen now is it's going to change the view to the left from quests that are currently ready for you to do and that you've picked up to quests that you have completed. Notice how the view is changed over to the left. All of these are quest lines that I have begun and I have completed. Another good way of getting yourself back on track if you happen to have forgotten where you left off. Let's just say I forgot where I left off in book 1, and that's true. I don't know where I am in book 1. I'm going to go down to the last listing. Okay, Volume 1, Book 9, The Shores. Okay, so I'm going to bring that open. Now, this is the last of book 1 that I've completed. Okay? So I could use the Show Completed Quests to find the very last book that I did, which would be 1-9. What's this one? Book 9, News of the World. Okay. Where's my chapter? Okay, so it's Epic 1, so that's book 1. No, that's Volume 1, Book 9, and I don't see a chapter here. So I would be looking, this is the last thing, I'd read the text inside of this area here and find out. It gives me a little road to follow in who to go talk to next in order to pick up Volume 1 again. I'm going to remove this check mark, and that's how we do books. Alright. Okie doke, covered a lot of ground. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask your kinmates or find me in the game. Take care.